In this video, we're going to talk about how to write an equation given 2 points. So we're going to do a big overview reminder, then we're going to briefly talk about the forms of the equations again, and then we're going to write an equation given 2 points. So you'll remember throughout this unit, we are writing equations of lines given different pieces of information, and given an equation, we're doing different things with that too. So in this one, we're going to be writing the equation of a line given 2 points. Here are the forms of an equation. Again, this one is really good for slope and intercept. If you're given the slope and the intercept, it's also good for graphing from. This one is really good for a lot of word problems are set up like this, and also finding the x and y intercepts is really useful from standard form. And this one, of course, is really good when you're given point and a slope. If you haven't written these down yet, I really would recommend that you pause the video here and you write these down. So the task of the day is to write an equation given 2 points. Well, none of these are 2-point formulas, so we're going to have to do a little bit of modification. So here we go. Write the equation of a line that passes through these given points. Write all final answers in slope-intercept form. And you'll remember from the last video, just because it says it wants its final answer in slope-intercept form doesn't mean that you need to start there. I don't have the slope and I don't have the y-intercept, so I'm not going to start with slope-intercept form. I'm given 2 points here, and if you'll remember from an earlier video, I said in order to graph a line or to write an equation, you need 2 things. Do you remember what they are? You need the steepness of the line in the form of the slope, and you need the location of the line in the form of a point. Do we have that here? No. We have 2 points, but we don't have the slope. But y'all know how to find the slope. All right, so just to show you on the graph here, -4, -2, we have 2 locations. But we don't have the steepness of the line. Now, if you have graph paper, you could actually find the slope using what I just drew here, but most of you aren't going to get up and go get graph paper. So let's use the slope formula. So you'll remember the slope formula is y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. That's what gives you m. And you'll remember that I say every time you have a formula, write it down first and then plug the numbers in. So this is my first x and first y, and my second x and second y. And this is a review from our previous video, so I'm going to rush right through this. Now, Rockstar Algebra 1 students wouldn't even write minus a negative. They would go ahead and make that a +2. They wouldn't write a minus -4. They would go ahead and write +4. And then we're going to go ahead and simplify. And then we're going to circle it because that's my slope. Now I have the steepness of the line and I have 2 points. You can use either one of those, and we're going to use point slope form. So point slope form is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. You can use either point here. My eye is immediately drawn to this because I see that 0, and I know that when I add 0 and I multiply by 0, magical things happen and stuff disappears. But you can use either point for your y1 and x1. Okay? They're both points that are on this line that we're about to write, so it's okay to use either one. I'm going to use this one because of that 0 there, and I know that's going to do some magical things. There's my m that I circled, so this is why I've been having you circle it the whole time, is so that you don't lose it. Look at all this work that we're doing here. I don't want to lose that slope in all of these numbers. So I circle it, and now I can put it where it goes. X is going to be x, and x1 is going to be 4. I actually switched. I used this as my x1. It's totally fine. So then y minus 0, I'm going to distribute. Now, you might be scared. Don't be scared. You can multiply 1/4 times 4 on your calculator. Or you do 4 divided by 4 and then multiply by 1. Or you think, what's 1/4 of 4? If I have 4, what's 1/4 of it? 1. If you really want to, you can move the 0 over here. I'm going to go ahead and do it. so that you have it in your notes that I need to move this guy over here. But because it's 0, it's just going to go away. So my answer is, I'm going to put a box around it because I circled my m. I'm going to put a box around my answer here. Y equals 1/4 x minus 1. And if I look over here, that's my y-intercept, -1, up 1 over 4. That's my slope, checks out, looks good. That matches the information that I was given. Write an equation of a line that passes through the points in the table. So this is the same thing. It's just a different representation of the very same thing that we had on the last one. Instead of having 2 points, they actually gave us 3 points. It doesn't matter which points you use. They're all on the same line. Before we go through this too much, let's just review a little bit. I know that this is linear because when I look at the change in these two, technically that's a -10. I divide those two, I get -10, and then do it again, and the change here is also -10 when I divide those. So it's a constant rate of change. Things are changing at the same rate when I divide these two. Okay? Now, what it's not proportional. This is all just extra stuff. You don't really need to know to solve this, but it's good to know. This is not proportional. If I take 20 divided by 10, I get 2. 10 divided by 11, I get not 2. And that's all you need to know. It's not proportional. And what that means to you is that this line is not going to go through 0, 0. It's not going to be a line like this. Okay, the y-intercept is not 0. There's a base starting amount, there's a y-intercept, and then I'm going to do my slope of -10. Actually, it's going to go the other way because it's going down. It's negative. Yeah, it's going to go down because it's a negative slope, but it's not going to go through 0, so it's not this line at all. I can't really graph it on here because 10, 20 would be like up here, and then 11, 10 would be like right here, but it's pretty steep, yeah? And then 12, 0 would be like right here. So it's a graph that looks like this. It's clearly not going through 0, so not proportional, okay? But it is linear, so we can write the equation of the line that passes through the points. We're going to pick 2 points. Let's just pick these guys and these guys. So I have 10, 20, and that's my x and y, and I have 11 and 10. And you always want to ask yourself, in order to write the equation of the line, I need 2 things. I need the location, I need a point, and I need the slope. Do I have the slope? I do not. That's another y there. I do not, so I have to find the slope. So 20 minus 10 over, this is m, this is me finding the slope. 11 minus 10 is 10 over 1. Now I have the slope. Now I'm ready to start plugging numbers in. Okay, you need a slope and a point. I'm going to use this point and this slope. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Write it down. Pause the video, write it down every single time you use it. My y is 20. My slope is 10. See, by circling it, I know this is the information that I'm using. The x1 is also 10. Do you know what I just did? Oh my goodness. Great example for all of you. I made a mistake. Did you catch it? I did 20 minus 10, but then I didn't do 10 minus 11. Good thing I caught it there. That's a negative slope. We already talked about that. It's going down. It's got to be a negative slope. Goodness gracious. They're going to fire me from my video creating job. I'm going to distribute it. Then I get negative 10x plus 100. And then I'm going to move the 20 over to the other side. So y equals negative 10x plus 100 plus 20. So y equals negative 10x plus 120. Now, a little bit of tip for you. If it just says to write the equation of a line, I could have stopped there. Because I did. I wrote the equation of the line. There's a y, there's an x, there's an equals. I got the slope, I got the y-intercept, the whole 9. However, It says to write my final answer in slope-intercept form. So that's why I got to do all this solving so that it's in slope-intercept form here. That's a y. That's a 120. Okay. The y-intercept is 120, so it's way up here over the video, and you can kind of tell this is very steep, so that makes sense. That's going to be up here, and it has a negative slope. It does have a negative slope. I'm glad I caught that. It goes down like that. Last example real quick. To surf the internet for 15 minutes at an airport, it costs $4.05. For 40 minutes, it costs $5.80. Write an equation to model the cost of surfing the web. Note, this problem gives 2 sample points. We have a pairing of 2 different things together. I know at 15 minutes, it's $4.05. That's a point. Those 2 are related to each other. For an input of 15, I have an output of 405. For 40 minutes, I have another pairing of 40 minutes and 580. It doesn't tell me how much it costs per minute here. We're going to find that, but it doesn't tell me how much it costs per minute. You might think you could divide it, but I bet there's a base rate. In fact, if I take 405 divided by 15, I get 27 cents a minute. And I take 580 divided by 40, I get 14 cents a minute. So this is not proportional, just like we talked about on the last one. This is not proportional. That means there's some kind of base rate that we have to pay to surf the internet, and then there's a per minute charge. Okay? So I don't know what the slope is yet, but I can find it. So I can find it by subtracting 580 minus 405 over 40 minus 15. So I'm going to get my calculator because my brain isn't working that well to do that in my head. You might be able to do it in your head. Good for you. 40 minus 15. That's because you're a rock star. Is 25. So for $1.75 for 25 minutes, now I can divide those. And it's 7 cents a minute. That's what my slope is. That's my M. That's my slope, which means in terms of this situation, the slope means it's 7 cents per minute. Didn't ask that. Bonus material right there. Pick a point. Y minus 405 equals 7 cents times x minus 15. I'm using this first one, but it doesn't matter which one you use because they're both going to work. Technically, it says to write a linear equation to model the cost of surfing the web. I did that, but I'm going to go ahead and solve it for y because I want to look at that base rate because I want to talk about what that means because some of you still don't believe me that I couldn't just divide to find the answer. That's good. You should question everything. I'm going to move this guy over to the other side. There's that base rate. Okay, it's 7 cents per minute. That's what that means right there. Plus $3. $3 is the flat fee. Just for logging on, you're going to pay a flat $3 fee and then 7 cents for every minute after that. And there's nowhere I would know that except from doing this process right here. Okay? There's my answer though. That's what it's looking for. Write a linear equation to model the cost of surfing the web. Right there, I did it.